Alright, it is time for the Okinawa Rush overview. I know this has been delayed as well. I'll be talking about that in my community post. I've just had a lot of games to overview, and they've all taken like 8 to 10 hours each, so you have to forgive me, but let's just get to this. Shouldn't take too long. So the first thing I should say about this game is that there's two modes. There's arcade mode, which is pretty much what you expect. It removes a lot of the cutscenes. You don't get as many lives, I think. And then there's the story mode, which is arguably more interesting because you have a gear system. So let's actually go into training mode and show how this works. So this game is actually, it's like a platformer and a beat-em-up with fighting game mechanics at once. I definitely got humbled pretty hard when I played this game initially because I kept trying to play it like a beat-em-up. You know, the bosses don't stagger. It definitely takes some adjustment. Basically just need to give it a fair shot. Give it a couple hours, at least one playthrough, and I think you'll get the hang of it. It actually is quite fun. So you have three buttons in this game. You have attack, you have jump, and you have special. Special is basically attack and jump at the same time. It's a lot easier. It also helps with jump frames too. See if I can do a judge frame. There you go. Kind of hard with this character. There you go. So basically certain moves, if you push the special button at certain periods, they will do an extra move. It also knocks back bosses pretty consistently too. There we go. Okay, so you have 5 stats here. You also can do feng shui to you can do feng shui in your dojo to max out the characters or customize them the way you want. I was told by Steve, the developer, that I guess the max bonus for speed is not working right now. The other ones have other bonuses that are hidden that the game does not tell you about. When you have them maxed, you'll get those bonuses, like as you can see here. I have a mostly maxed out character. Strength, defense, and focus and health are all maxed out. So defense, I believe, gives you auto parrying. Focus gives you, I think, a lot more damage on special attacks when your rage bar is full, and then attack, I don't remember what that does. This game does not really convey a lot of information to you, and that's something you kind of have to go into this accepting. It is very much an old-school game in terms of how it expects you to learn things by yourself. There's not really a lot of guidance in this game at all, so if that's something you like, I don't think this game will really deliver. I'm not that great at this game. I've beaten it a couple times, but I can't really teach people on it too well, so let's just go ahead and do one level so you guys can see a little bit of how the gameplay works. There are scaling difficulties. Also, all your money and gear carry over to every character, so if you play as one, you can pretty easily transition to another one, at least in terms of stats. There's some just frames for you. There's another just frame.
Blocking enemy.
So basically, much like a beat-em-up, you need to do crowd control. However, it can be a little bit awkward trying to go into this playing it like a beat-em-up. You really have to approach it like it's a completely unique game. But you have to admit, it's pretty hard to do these days. We have so many great games in every genre you can think of. Unfortunately, getting the hang of this game can be quite difficult. It'll be very humbling no matter how long you've been playing games or you've been playing beat-em-ups. You're gonna get bodied at the start. But I promise you, if you give this game some time, you'll have fun producing the ninja population. Very enjoyable. Okay, so you have a rage bar at the top. It fills up by parrying. You parry like third strike, you push forward. And then you can do supers. Supers do a lot of damage, naturally, so you want to use them on bosses. Bosses can really be taken down pretty fast if you master your parrying. So to parry traps, you hold up, not down. There you go. I'm kind of mixed on the traps. I feel like they can be a little bit artificial sometimes. They get in the way. It can be very easy to get hit by them, even if you've been through a level multiple times. But you can parry them. There are lots of secrets in the game as well. It's definitely where a lot of the replay value comes from. I think this game taught me anything, it's that ninjas are like ants. They outnumber us like 1,000 to 1. There's so many ninjas in this game. The media is lying to you. It's not people having too many kids that's causing overpopulation. It's just the ninja population. Every time they cast a jutsu, they multiply themselves by 10. So when you get surrounded in this game, you definitely want to use down. This move right here, what this will do is it will grab both enemies on both sides, and it'll give you a little bit of brief invincibility. So let's go ahead and show a secret here. So I got the Zen, which allows you to fly. Parried that trap. I got killed by those traps so much at the beginning, even though the game tells you, your instinct is going to tell you to hold down to parry, but you actually have to hold up. Once you remember that, the parry system on the traps is not too bad. I definitely do get annoyed with them the more I've played this game about 3 or 4 times now. I definitely do get annoyed with it, but it's nothing you can't overcome. So in the upper left-hand corner, that is basically your credit meter. It will ask you to do certain moves, and if you do all the objectives, it will give you a coin, which is basically a credit like it would be in an arcade game. This game is arcade length, which I think is what's really nice about it. It's designed to not overstay its welcome. I would estimate it's about 50 minutes to maybe an hour, hour 20, depending on how thorough you are. There are a lot of secrets in this game. If you try to do 100% playthrough, then it's going to take a lot longer, naturally. But just playing through the game normally and trying to get some funds for your characters, it won't take very long at all. So So let's try to get that coin. Let's go ahead and grab the sword. Maxed out, so enemies die pretty fast. The ranking system is very strict. They expect you to get everything and combo everything. The game has a very in-depth scoring system as well. If that's your thing, you're going to be right at home here. You're just going to have a pretty steep learning curve at the start. So there's also a shop system. In the shop you can buy items for your dojo, and if you place them in the right places, you can actually get a lot of stat buffs. You can also get amulets too.
Thank you very much. Farewell.
And you kind of already have a max character, so there's not really a whole lot to show here, but there's 3 shops. And the more that you go into the shops, the more your fitness lowers. And when your fitness lowers, your base max stats will go down. The gray is your base stats. That's what you can improve by doing the training. However, if your fitness goes down, then those base stats will go down and you have to raise them up again. It's not possible to permanently lose them. What this basically means is it wants you to go in here and just train for a little bit and get your fitness up. Otherwise, you'll lose some of your stats. You can also make special requests. You can make a request for better amulets. You can get better, skins for your character. Or I guess the correct term would be palette swaps. You can get more durable punching bags. Your punching bags actually break, and you need to buy those to upkeep your dojo and make sure that you can keep your fitness up. Or you can get rare antiques or ornaments. This is actually the most important thing because this is the only way that you can max out stats. You need to do the feng shui in the dojo and arrange the ornaments in certain ways to get the max stats. Also, the game has 3 endings. They're actually pretty easy to get. There is a guide on the Steam forums if you guys are interested. They make it pretty painless. You pretty much just need to get the requirements once. You need to get the gemstones and a bunch of other things. I don't want to spoil it for people who want to discover it on their own, but basically there are certain requirements that you need to meet, and once you meet them, they will carry over to every character. Like, for instance, you see with Hero, actually I beat the game first with Mei Lin, and then I went to Hero's campaign, and I actually had all the materials ready, so I knocked those out in like half an hour, 45 minutes. I haven't touched Shin yet, unfortunately, but if you like endings, this game definitely does have the kind of thing like I was mentioning with Tian Ding, where the ending is pretty depressing if you don't get the good one, but once you fulfill the requirements, you can basically just play the game on White Belt, which is the easiest difficulty, and you can just run through them that way. So you can choose one amulet, and it will have different stats. So you definitely want to choose one that will help you max out whichever respective stat you want. There's also a lot of training as well, if you want to get better at the boss fights are definitely pretty unique. They don't really stagger. There are certain things that will stagger them, like just frames, but for the most part, you have to respect them and parry them. The parries will refill your meter really fast, so ideally you want to be doing that because it will allow you to use your specials more often. Overall, the game is about an hour long. If you like arcade-based, or arcade-inspired, or arcade-length games, I think you get a lot of replay value out of this. You've got 1cc's, you've got score runs, you've got completionist runs. I'm sure you could do speed runs as well. And there's a lot of opportunity there, a lot of potential there. But if you're looking for a long game with like a really long story, lots of cutscenes, and You know, it's like a one-and-done thing. This is definitely not a one-and-done game. I estimate it will take about 3 to 4 average playthroughs to max out your character. So you're looking at about maybe 5 to 6 hours just to max out your character, and then from there you can try to get the endings, you can try to push up farther in the difficulties, you can change your build. One thing, there's actually 2 things I should mention. The first is that if you're on Switch right now, if you go into the dojo, you will have the option to change your dojo, change the location of it. Do not do that under any circumstances, because there is currently a bug where the items that you put in the initial dojo will disappear, and you have to go buy them again. You're not locked out of them forever, but depending on how much money you spent in the game, then it might take you a while to get all that back. So they are working on a patch, they're working on getting it approved, but for now, do not change the location of your dojo under any circumstances, and you'll be fine. I actually can't remember what else I had to say, but that's basically it. It's a very enjoyable game. It will definitely humble you at the start. It's a lot of fun. You just need to give it an honest chance. You can't really play it like a lot of other beat-em-ups. You can't go in and just push the attack button. you have a very large moveset at your disposal. You have judge frames and parries and things like that. You need to utilize all those mechanics to get through the game pretty smoothly. If you don't, it is going to be frustrating at the start, but once you get past that initial shock of being humbled, regardless of how long you've been playing games, or at least this genre in particular, the game is a lot of fun. I can't recommend it enough. The Switch port is perfect. It runs at a stable 60 FPS pretty much at all times. It's a couple patches behind, so you have to go into that in mind, but other than that, it is basically a perfect port. Also, the other thing I wanted to mention that I just remembered is that your gold total will not update until you either refuse to continue, meaning you let the time run out, or you beat the campaign. So if you're trying to farm gold, you definitely want to make sure that you have enough time for an entire run. I definitely think that's something that should be changed, because the game does not convey that information to you at any time. But you want to go through the entire game in one sitting, because that is what will tally up your gold, and then you're looking at maybe 200,000 to 400,000 gold, depending on how thorough you are. You could definitely push that a lot higher, but honestly, on your first playthrough, when you don't know where all the secrets are, you're looking at about that range, which should be enough to at least maybe max 1 stat, depending on how efficient you are. Anyway, that's it. Thanks to SteveFusionX, aka Steve Miller, for the key. He was nice enough to give this to me. I had a very hard time with it at the start, but once I sat down and played it off camera and I practiced, I really enjoyed this game. It's unfortunate that it leaves a lot of things up to your interpretation, meaning that you have to figure out the mechanics by yourself. It's definitely got a really large adjustment period, considering that it doesn't really play like anything else. But if you give it time, I promise it's a lot of fun. Definitely one of the most satisfying games I played. One of the most satisfying indie games I played this year. Obviously, this year's had a lot of disappointment on this channel in terms of larger, bigger budget games, and this was kind of a sleeper hit for me, so I can't recommend it enough. The game is available on Switch and PC right now. I believe there's still the discount of, I think it's $17 or $18. It's definitely worth it at that price. You can get a lot out of this, a lot more than a lot of other single playthrough games. You know, Tianding just came out, you know, a couple days ago, and these games both came out within a month of each other. If you're looking for replay value, I would recommend this game. If you're looking for single playthrough, you know, lots of story and stuff, I would recommend Tianding. Tianding also has much worse combat as well. If you're looking for good combat, an arcade-based experience, and a lot of replay value, you can't go wrong with this right now. Thanks for watching.